What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Breaking and Entering podcast. Ed, I got my man Brandon here with me today. One of our teams won in dramatic fashion. Another team lost, and I guess we can say dramatic fashion. But we're gonna get into it. Brandon, how we doing today, man?
One of our teams lost, and that, of course, was mine. So, other than that, I'm good. Let's get to this opening drive, everyone. An MRI has revealed no significant damage to Jordan Love's groin after he left Sunday's win over the Jaguars with an injury. The Colts have decided to bench quarterback Anthony Richardson. It's looking like Joe Flacco will start Sunday night versus the Vikings. The Chiefs have landed edge rusher Joshua Uche from the Patriots for a sixth-round pick in 2026. My Ravens have agreed to trade for Carolina wide receiver Deontay Johnson. Texans wide receiver Stephon Diggs, he's out for the season after tearing his ACL. And no brainer here, Kevin Stefanski, he says he's sticking with Jameis Winston as a starter for the Browns when they asked him in a press conference earlier this week after his 3 touchdown performance against the Ravens' horrendous secondary.
Speaking of, let's get into the game. I know you want to get it over with, so let's just do it. Honestly, what could go wrong for y'all did go wrong for y'all. I know you probably got some thoughts about Justin Tucker. He missed another field goal. Definitely changed the trajectory of that game. If he would have made that field goal, then y'all would have needed to score a touchdown at the end of the game. Kyle Hamilton, oh my goodness, I'm sure he's had nightmares after dropping the game-winning, game-stealing interception. Honestly, Jameis Winston, he tried to gift y'all 2 interceptions that I saw. There was a play, I think it might have been the first half where they were in a red zone driving and he threw it in the end zone. It was nothing but Ravens defenders around. And somebody, I don't remember the exact player who dropped it, or maybe it bounced off the leg or something. But I know I think Teddy Bruschi likes to say throwing it into a team meeting. That's definitely what Jameis did on that play. So um yeah, man. Before we last week we were talking about this game um as one of the previews, and then back of my head was like, Jameis Winston, I know he's had his 30 interception season or whatever it was. He also threw 30 touchdowns, and I think he threw for 5,000 yards. So I won't be surprised if he goes out there and kind of slices y'all up. But I did expect y'all to win. It's good. Y'all got help on the way in the form of Deontay Johnson, because I saw like a cut some people made on social media, like just all the drops he had. So it looks like the offensive side of the ball had a bad day as well, and those receivers dropping the balls. Derrick Henry only rushed the ball for 11 carries. He had 73 yards, so maybe if I gave him the rock a little bit more, the outcome would have been different. My thought on that though is I think it was more of a maintenance type of deal. Some weeks y'all gonna give him low amount of carries and try to save him for the back end of the season. That's my you know thinking of why he didn't get as many carries as he should have. But yeah, man, I'm gonna let you get into it and your thoughts of this game.
Myles Garrett showed up to the stadium dressed as the Terminator. We was in for a long game. He didn't necessarily have his best game of his career against us, but yeah, I kind of figured, it was around Halloween. He loves to dress up. He actually did one year with I think he did a tombstone of all the quarterbacks he sacked over his career, and a couple of my quarterbacks were on there, of course, by playing them twice a year. But yeah, where was Deshaun Watson and Kevin Stefanski at when we needed them on Sunday, man? All of a sudden, Stefanski, he gave up the play calling. Unfortunately, Watson had himself a horrific injury, and the Browns, they decided to score more than 20 points for the first time all year, of course, against the Ravens secondary. You got to give hats off to them, though. They were really able to contain our offense. They did whatever they wanted to against our secondary, literally. Eddie Jackson had himself a long day. You mentioned somebody that dropped the interception in the end zone. It was a bunch of Ravens defenders around there. I think Eddie Jackson was closest to that one. He also had a one in the second half as well that he was close to, and he dropped. He, he had wasn't able to close his hands in on it. Basically, we were without Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins for the entire game. It definitely showed up. I've been hard on Marlon Humphrey, but he has had a good season. He had 2 interceptions last week. Definitely could have used them in this one. You mentioned uh, Kyle Hamilton, he had the big drop at the end of the game. It probably could have sealed the game. I know they had three timeouts at that point, but it was within the 2 minute warning, if I remember correctly. Would have probably definitely ran some more time off the clock and helped us there at the end. But yeah, their skill position players got it in. Tillman, never even heard of the man until this game. Had a touchdown on us. Elijah Moore, um, Steve Smith called him Jag, but he certainly just wasn't another guy on Sunday against us. Jerry Judy, and on National Tight End Day, David Njoku, of course, had to get his stats in against us. I think it was 5 for 61, if I'm not mistaken, in a touchdown, a wide open touchdown there as well. More than 300 yards in the air for one Jameis Winston. Neither quarterback threw an interception. They had that one sack fumble from Jameis early on, but after that he really got into his groove. I think the bonehead play of the game, and I just cutting to it, I'm just going to tell you now ahead of our segment later on, was the Derrick Henry direct snap in the first quarter. It was our opening drive, fourth down, I think in one within the 10. We line up. We'd been moving the ball pretty good. Got down there, and again, Derrick Henry is taking the direct snap. Lamar Jackson nowhere to be found. Todd Monken calls in this play, and everybody knows, when you're within the 10, but you're not probably within the 2 or 3 yard line, and Derrick Henry takes a snap, even from his days in Tennessee, it's going to be a direct run for him. When it's within that 2 to 3 yard line of the goal line, he has, at least in his Tennessee days, has the opportunity to throw the football. So we already knew that was out of the plan. The Browns defense knew that wasn't the play. The entire stadium knew that, and they stuffed his ass in the backfield for a 2 yard loss. Turnover on downs, missed points right there, penalty after penalty throughout the game. Again, you mentioned Justin Tucker. He missed a field goal from 50 yards out. Could have definitely helped us there at the end. And we lost Michael Pierce and Brent Urban on our defensive line. I know they lost a couple people as well um, on their defense. You mentioned it off the top, and I had it here too. Stephen A. Smith said, "What can go wrong will go wrong," and I thought about that towards the end of the game. Literally, just an embarrassing loss. Good win for the Browns, though. They were 1-6 heading into that game. We did, as I mentioned on Friday's show, we beat them 28-3 last year there in Cleveland. Typically, we struggle with them at home. We usually play really good over the years there in Cleveland, but backup quarterback. He had time to prepare. Jameis Winston is no slouch. I know he's thrown some interceptions over his career, but he certainly carved our defense up for sure. Next week we got the Broncos, man, coming to M&T. Their defense is definitely on the rise. Excuse me. The rookie quarterback Bo Nix is getting, getting used to things. He's getting into form. So I think we're gonna have our hands full with that one too. But yeah, what a tough loss there against, again, an AFC team in our division. It's not the fact that it's in our division, even though this you can't really. It's kind of going both ways with this. It's against the AFC team, which is going to hurt us later in the year when it comes to standings. Not that Cleveland is probably going to make the playoffs, but when it all comes down to it, what appears to now that the Steelers are going to win the division um, for 5, 6, and 7 in the AFC, this one hurts, along with the Kansas City loss early this year, along with um,
Raiders.
the loss against the Raiders as well in week 2. All AFC opponents, not good. I love Lamar's record against NFC, but if we had to lose to somebody, it has to be an NFC opponent at this rate moving forward for the rest of the season. Hopefully, our record against rookie quarterbacks will continue next week when we play Bo Nix there in Baltimore, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm not. That's it from me.
Uh, one question for you: would you say y'all lost the game more, or do you think the Browns won the game more?
I'm gonna say they won the game more. I think they came out and outcoached us. They
Mm,
outplayed us. Uh, Again, I know we were without Marlon Humphrey, who's turned into our best corner this year. We didn't stick to the run, like I always say, and I know you think, yourself personally think that it may be like a pitch count situation with Derrick Henry. I don't care. Run the damn ball. Like, we had guys dropping the passes all game long. You had Bateman. He tripped up. was on his knees, had the opportunity to catch the ball, nobody within 2 yards of him, and he drops it. And then he pointing up to his helmet and the sun because the sun was in his eyes. Yes,
They always do
don't get
that.
me wrong. When they showed it on replay, yes, the sun was in his eyes. I understand that, but you're a paid professional. Your career has really taken off this year. He's having himself a really good year for a Ravens receiver, not for an NFL receiver, but for a Ravens receiver because we don't typically produce them good. You got to catch that ball, man. Other guys was dropping balls, man. It just was um not a good game for sure. Yeah, I think the Browns won that. I'm not going to take that from them. I think the
Got you.
Browns won it more than we lost it for sure.
Yeah, it does get on my nerves a little bit when guys make a mistake or something. They either blame it on something that happened or they point at themselves like my fault. Like, yeah, we know it's your fault. We don't.
Exactly.
I don't want to get too much into that. Let's get into our sponsors real quick. This episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD and wellness company. Check out their full line of CBD infused products, which make great stocking stuffers for the upcoming holiday season. Perfect for athletes, weekend warriors, soccer moms, and even armchair quarterbacks. They have CBD infused honey, which is a personal favorite, as well as tinctures and mint and regular flavor. Most importantly, they are veteran and woman owned, so come get some of this sweet temptation and taste the premium difference. Use code BNE for 15% off your order. Their website is premium.com. That's PREHEMIUM.com. Again, that's PREHEMIUM.com. Now let's get back to our show.
All right, I guarantee you a win for the Packers over the Jaguars at Everbank Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Did it happen? Yes. But Green Bay barely won 30-27 over the Jaguars. It started really slow and it came alive in the second quarter, but I honestly think it came down to the injuries. Jacksonville lost 6 players, including their 3 starting receivers, to injury, as well as Jordan Love left the game again. He's been having some injury issues all year long, but Jacksonville's defense hasn't been good all year long either. It showed up again in this one. They couldn't stop the run. Nor the tight end Tucker Craft had himself a good game. Uh, 78 yards and only 3 receptions. Brandon McManus for the second week in a row was an X factor. Kicked that game winner. 24 yards out against his former team. I'm sure that felt good for him because I believe they released him after some legal trouble that he had.
Yeah,
But
Commanders got rid of his ass.
oh, Commanders, sorry. I think he did have some legal. Was it with y'all or was it with Jacksonville at that
No,
time?
it's with
Let me see.
Jacksonville.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, Green Bay's front office, I think they gotta feel good about Malik Willis. He came in again, forced to finish the game after Love left with that concussion. He also beat his former team in the Titans earlier this year, held things down when Love got banged up after week one. So yeah, good win for the Packers. They're now 4 straight wins there for them. Jaguars again continue to be up and down. I think they go to Philly next week, and that'll be Doug Peterson's return to Philadelphia, and he might not make it out of there as a member, as a coach of the of the Jaguars. He may be uh, trying to talk to them low key before the game to try to get himself a job at this rate because it's not looking good for Jacksonville. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think Malik Willis is doing a hell of a job to extend his career. If the Packers don't re-sign him, I definitely think he'll have a job somewhere in the future in the NFL. You hit it right on the nail with me as far as the rushing game. Josh Jacobs, 25 carries, 127 yards, had that nice touchdown run when Malik Willis was in the game. National Tight End Day, you talked about it earlier. Tucker Craft did a nice job. Evan Ingram, he had a nice touchdown catch at the end of the game to well, for 1 second, I thought the Jaguars were going to come away and win this game, but Malik Willis came in. He threw that touchdown at the end of the game to Tucker Craft to kind of put them over the edge or at least keep them, in the lead. He also had some nice runs as well to, extend drives and just eat up that clock. Um, I know that, Jaguars are their record is awful, but they're starting to play a little bit better. Trevor Lawrence is starting to look kind of like what he used to when they went to the playoffs. So I'm still interested to see. I don't at this point. I think it's too far. They're too down in their record to make some noise as far as them getting to the playoffs. I'm trying to think right now. Yeah, they're third in the AFC South. Indy is 4-4, and Houston 62. It'll be tough to get over them, even though Houston has some major injuries at that wide receiver position. But as of now, I don't see the Jaguars doing anything. But I think they're going to be a tough out going forward for all these teams, unless they, something happens where Doug Peterson loses the locker room or somebody gets fired and they start tanking. But I think the Jaguars, even though their record is bad, they're definitely going to be tough for teams to play. So I'll be interested to see how they look going forward. Honestly, I won't be surprised if they do something against the Eagles, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, definitely a good win for the Packers. Like I said earlier, salute to Malik Willis. He's definitely doing his thing out there. He's won a game on his own, and he's coming at the as like a relief pitcher, if you want to say, and close the game out as well. So yeah, man, salute to them for that. All right, we talked about it. We previewed the game, Cardinals and the Dolphins. I was on the fence about this game. I think I had it either way, and the game kind of went down to that. Cardinals won on a game-winning field goal for the second week in a row. National Tight End Day again. Everyone this weekend, a lot of the tight ends did well. Trey McBride had himself a game, 9 catches, 124 yards. Marvin Harrison Jr., we talked about him, how he was not being involved that much. I doubt Kyler listened to the show, but he definitely listened to everybody else out there and threw the down ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't want to say Jalen Ramsey got exposed, but I think his best days are behind him. In my opinion, he had a long day going against Marvin Harrison Jr. I know one of those touchdown catches, or I think he only had one touchdown. The touchdown catch he had was on Jalen Ramsey, beat him kind of towards a corner or at least a side of the end zone to make that diving catch. It was a good play. Kyler Murray kind of did his thing out there. He didn't rush for a touchdown like he did against the who was it, the was I forgot who they played last week. I want to say the Broncos, but it wasn't the Broncos. But he didn't have a rushing touchdown for 44 yards, which killed me in fantasy this week. I'm still a little salty about that, but he definitely did his thing. Return of Tua Tagovailoa, man. He had a scrambling play, and the whole time I was like, "Oh my God, please don't get knocked out." He did a QB dive or slid on the ground. Everybody started cheering. You could definitely tell that offense is way better with him on the field than without it. Tyreek Hill looked good out there. Devin A. Chain definitely had himself a great game. I think he only had like 9 carries or something like that, 10 carries, 97 yards, and he caught a touchdown through the air, 6 catches of 50 yards. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. I do think the Dolphins will still be a little relevant just because the AFC East is so miserable. I mean, the Patriots are 206, the Jets are 206. So that makes Miami second place right now in their division. Maybe stranger things will happen and somehow they're going to run. I think as long as Tua can remain healthy and that defense can just, tighten things up a little bit. Jalen Ramsey, I'm talking about you. The Dolphins can maybe make some noise and fight for a playoff position down the line. But I'm sure Dolphins would rather have a win, but I think they're happy that Tua was back, got out there unscathed, healthy for the most part. And definitely salute to the Cardinals for getting that win. But what are your thoughts on this game, man?
Where Kyler Murray, he led his team on back-to-back 70-yard drives in the fourth quarter, come back from a 9-point deficit for them. The Miami pass defense, from what I saw, they were pretty solid this year. Heading into the game, they were number one against the pass. I mentioned in Friday's though show that Trey McBride, and you just talked about him as well. He certainly stepped up this year. Dolphins defense helped him even more. 9 catches on 11 targets for a buck 24. Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. appear to be on the same page. I think they had their best game so far this year, especially in the second half. But yeah, Tua didn't look that bad, honestly, out there. Couple runs, like you mentioned, got his legs loose. It's just that the Arizona offense really came alive in this one and was able to keep up with them. But yeah, hats off to the Cardinals. When I saw this, the first time they won consecutive games since 2021. So that's kind of hard to believe, but it is true. So good win for the Cardinals to keep pace there in the NFC West. Mentioned on Friday that division's wide open, and the AFC East, yeah. The Jets are at the bottom. Of course, the Patriots aren't really doing that much right now. So yeah, Buffalo seems like they're gonna take this division, but Miami, yeah, they could make some noise in the AFC. If not, ruin some playoff hopes for some of their future opponents down the line.
Yeah, I'm looking at the NFC West rankings right now. Arizona's currently number one, but three teams are 4-4 right now. You got Arizona, San Fran, Seattle 4-4, and the Rams, who are on a winning streak, are 3-4. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye out on that division as well. And yeah, AFC East. Good lord, we talked about the Jets and the Devontae Adams trade and how we both didn't think it was going to do too much for them. Uh, I think they're missing Robert Saleh a little bit. I don't want to talk about the Jets too much, but that defense definitely took a step back since
Mhm.
he's been gone. All right, we're gonna talk about the game that made me a believer again. Commanders beat the Bears with a Hail Mary 18-15. Right after this game was over, I went online and bought me a Jaden Daniels jersey. I'm sold on the young man. I'm a believer in him. Um, Watching this game, I was thinking to myself, these are the Washington franchise that I know. We play to the level of competition. We fuck around and blow the game, let the game go away. For the most part, we weren't able to score touchdowns. I thought the Zach Ertz touchdown that they called back, it could have went either way. I would have gave it to him because I don't know. Defense was doing their job for the most part until near the end of the game. DeAndre Swift had a play where I said he was going to look like Walter Payton. They definitely look like Walter Payton. Broke it for, I want to say, about 56 yards or something like that. And once they scored that first touchdown to make it 7-12, I was like, oh, here we go. This is beginning to end. I know. I just knew it in my mind, in my stomach, in my heart, in my soul that we're going to lose this game. Um, Towards the end of the game, typical old Washington football, breaking fans' hearts where can't do nothing on the offense, and the defense just starts doing typical, back in the day defense things where they can't stop a damn cold. I remember my guy Caleb Williams. He had a nice scrambling to his right. He threw it back. Can't remember. I think it was. I want to say it was Roma Dunze. He threw it to, and it was like a third down conversion, I believe. And I was like, oh my god, I just know where this is gonna go. They scored a touchdown. Uh, got the damn 2-point conversion, and they up 12-15. And then what could go wrong for the Bears did go wrong for the Bears. I mean, we all saw the media the next day. I've seen about 15,000 angles of this Hail Mary fan perspective, NFL films, everybody. I mean, local radio, they had like a viral soundbite of it. I saw their viewpoint. I saw everything. I need to see if NASA's got a viewpoint from space because they got everything under the sun watching that game. Tyreek Stevenson, I believe that's the young man's name. You might need to wear a bag over your head for the next week or so. You need to play well to get this game behind young man because he definitely earned yourself bonehead play of the week. There were some contenders in there, but you definitely take the T for this one, young man. End of the game, the first play that got us into that scoring position where they let Terry McLaurin just run and catch an out pass for about 10, 15 yards to get us in scoring position. And then the Hail Mary where, Tyreek Stevenson, he's over there talking trash to the fans, waving goodbye, go home, beat the traffic. And the ball's in the air. He's like, oh shit, let me go over there. He tips it to Noah Brown. And my immediate reaction, I didn't get up. I honestly, if I would have got up, I think the blood rushed into my head real fast. I would have passed out. So I just stayed on the couch. It's like, oh shit, oh my goodness, oh my god. I was so excited. I felt like a little boy again. The joy I felt. You don't get those feelings too often, especially on a Hail Mary play or like a buzzer beater type play. I remember something like this happening back in the day. I went to a playoff game, Wizards against the Hawks. Paul Pierce hit that buzzer beater off the glass to win the game. I kind of had a feeling like that, but definitely happy that the Commanders won. I'm upset with this game. I'm gonna be honest with you. Even though I got a Jaden Daniels jersey, I bought a Terry McLaurin jersey too. By the way, I was like, yeah, I was on cloud nine, but I got some concerns that defense once again. Times get rough. The defense goes missing. I don't know. We got the who do we got next week? I just had it up on my screen. I know we got
Giants.
the Giants next week. If anybody remembers, we played them early in the season. They lost
Oh,
that game. Malik Neighbors dropped the ball that would have kept the drive going for them, got them in field goal position. I'm kind of concerned that Malik Neighbors is going to be hell bent on getting revenge and going crazy against us. And then we got the Steelers. They're coming off a bye week. I remember we beat them like 2 or 3 years ago when they were 10-0. I'm sure they got that in their memory skills. I know Mike Tomlin does. And then we got the Eagles on Thursday Night Football. So those are 3 games I can see us losing. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm definitely got some concerns right now. Jaden Daniels, I didn't want him to play. He ended up proving me wrong, but he did come up wincing a couple of times holding those ribs. So hopefully, going against that Giants defense, that Audrey Lurie, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, these guys can get after the quarterback. Hopefully, he doesn't get too banged up in the games. I believe that's the game where he initially hurt his ribs too. He had to go out for a play or two. So hopefully, I'm looking into the future and he get back to his game, but hopefully, he stays healthy. But I could definitely see some rough days ahead for the Commanders just going off this game. Hopefully, we're not like on cloud nine like I am. And Dan Quinn is like, look, guys, we won that game, but we should have lost it. And we get prepared and ready to go. We're 6-2 right now, uh, up top of the NFC East, but definitely I got some concerns for this game. But hopefully we get it together. Brandon, what are your thoughts on this game, man?
so yeah, how you was watching the end of the game. I wasn't sure at that time what exactly you were doing. I'm not sure if you was behind from when I sent a text to you when they scored that final touchdown on the Hail Mary or not, but I did text Ed and I said only against the Bears, man. Um, legit, only against the Bears. Gotta feel good though for Commanders fans. Years and years of stuff like this happened against y'all. You couldn't hold leads, you was getting blown out, stuff like that. So now the tide is changing. Y'all are able to, you got that young rookie phenom and he's able to make those plays. And again, I've been mentioning it, past couple weeks. It helps the entire team boost them up, and it seems like everybody's level of play gets better. I do remember you saying you didn't want Jaden to play in this one. He did take a couple big hits against the Bears defense, but the injury didn't appear to bother him when it was all said and done. Speaking of that, just before that Hail Mary pass, the announcer on CBS, I think it was Ross Tucker, if I'm not mistaken, he said the injury, he thought the ribs would prevent Jaden from even reaching the end zone on that play. Next thing you
Yeah,
know, he
Tony
scrambled
Romo.
right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tony Romo was talking about
Oh,
it's
it's
like
Tony Romo. My
there we
bad.
go.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking about my game. Ross Tucker was on my game. My bad. We had the bad announcers on CBS. My mistake. Okay, my mistake. All right. Next thing we know, though, Jaden he scrambled to the right. He came back to the left. Um, literally looked like he put no effort into that pass. Like it just came off his hand like so easily. His arm just moved like it was honestly Patrick Mahomes esque, Lamar Jackson, and Aaron Rodgers. I saw all that in him in that one single play. It was like the magician, the guy that was able to escape, elude the defenders, and then Aaron Rodgers throwing it up there at the end was his. He's notorious for Hail Mary passes. But yeah, your team is 4-0 at home. It after y'all play the Giants, and honestly, I think y'all could beat the Steelers too. I mean, they're not the defense is pretty good. They're playing better with Russ, but I don't think the Steelers are as good as people think they are. Um, I think y'all could potentially beat them. From there, I'm not sure what exactly y'all got, but I know towards the back end of the season, I remember looking the other day, y'all got a pretty favorable schedule. I think from like week 17, was that weeks? I think 13 to 17, if I'm not mistaken. 14 to 17 is some pretty favorable matchups. So we'll see how this all ends up. I would not be surprised though, as I mentioned the other day, if y'all win the NFC East. I know the Eagles are lurking, Cowboys are not doing anything right now, and of course the Giants, as I mentioned, they're automatic last place in the division for sure. But yeah, good win for y'all. Didn't expect to end like that, but what a way! I mean, that's a way to lift the team and uh, lift the city and the fans for sure. Great win.
I'm sure Jaden Daniels jersey are like flying off the show. So I wanted to get the black one. I got the regular burgundy one for Jaden Daniels. They had the alternate black one for Terry McLaurin, but I know they flying off the shelves right now.
So, real quick, I never thought I'd have the day that I would own a Commander's jersey or buy one or wear one. But I did too buy a Jaden Daniels jersey. I wanted the
Really?
black one. Yes,
You
really.
got a
It's
black
coming in.
one?
No, I couldn't get it.
Okay.
Like
I'm
you
about to
mentioned,
say, where the
I
hell
went
you
to
get one?
I went to NFLshop.com, and I think the only black one was the only
3XL
current
or
black
some
one.
shit.
I'm sorry.
The one I saw, it was like they had them, but it was like 3XL. I was like, I can't fit that. I look like a damn
For
bed
Jaden
sheet.
Daniels, I didn't even see that.
I
I
went to
would
the
have.
Commander store.
Oh, okay. Okay. I
Yeah.
went to NFL Shop, and I think the only current player they had in black was Scary Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think they had some previous players like Chase Young and stuff. So then I
Oh,
saw the
okay.
black jersey shirt, and I was like, man, maybe I'll get that. Of course, a whole lot cheaper. I was like, I'm not necessarily a Commanders fan, but I do love the guy. So I said, oh, fuck it. I'll just go ahead and spend the 129 or whatever it was for it.
Really?
The guy is
Okay.
special. Uh, the guy is special. I had to get it. Like I'm trying to get my jerseys back in line and get some current players as well, especially the ones I think that are going to stick with their teams for a while. And
Yeah.
I think as long as y'all are willing to pay him when his contract renewal comes around, because now they're getting paid sooner rather than later. Y'all gonna keep him for a while. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
after this start.
Yeah, that's how I felt about Terry too. I think he'll be a lifelong
They
Commanders
should,
player.
yeah.
We gave him a contract extension like a year or two ago, and you definitely see how he plays. I've been telling people he's a top, five, top
Oh
10
yeah.
receiver in his league. I think he's the best receiver in NFC East, and as long as he keeps getting that chemistry with Jaden, you see his stats. He's definitely growing like that. But yeah, man, I'm
And
surprised you got a Jaden Daniels jersey. Wow, that's crazy to me.
yeah, Jaden probably the only one I probably would get for y'all right now. But but
I
yeah, week two, I was actually gonna get one a couple weeks ago, and I just kept holding off. And then after that, I was like, yeah, dude's special, man. Gotta, I think players get a certain cut of it. I was like, he deserves every last cut of it. I don't know how accurate that is, but I've always heard that. But either way, he deserves all the attention, all the respect that he's getting. Um, Probably going to be a Pro Bowler, or if not a backup, definitely first or second team All Pro for sure. Rookie of the year. I mean, offensive rookie of
definitely
the
make an
year. I mean,
all rookie team. Yeah.
it's he's again. I said a few weeks ago he's better than Lamar Jackson as a passer in his rookie season. I think Lamar's a better runner at this point in his rookie, but as a passer, and that's what you want to be. You're a quarterback. He's definitely looking good for y'all for sure.
Yeah, I do crap on the defense a lot. I do want to salute Frankie Louvu. He's been pretty good. Also, rookie Jerzon Newton. He had that fumble recovery when the Bears tried to get one of the linemen to score, and he fumbled at the end zone. That definitely helped us out a lot as well too. So I want to shout those two guys out. But at the same time, that defense is going to keep teams in games for sure. All right, let's get into the player awards though.
Yeah, offensive player of the week. I'm gonna shout out one of Ed's guys here. You've been calling for this guy to get more attention and get the ball more, probably since he's been drafted. Kyle Pitts, 4 receptions for 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's not exactly, um, it wasn't over 100. It wasn't no 10 catch day, but it's more than what he's done pretty much all season long. Definitely should have helped Ed in his fantasy teams. Um, and his first touchdown since week one. So good for him and the Atlanta Falcons. Who's your offensive player of the week?
I would have gave it to Kyle Pitts, but he almost had a bonehead play when he was running for his second touchdown and was lollygagging in the end zone. He let I think it was Anton Winfield Jr. I think he's gonna be a Hall of Famer, man. That dude is always making plays and knocked the
Like a
ball out, but
father.
they gave him
Mhm.
the touchdown. It was like inches. Like they honestly they probably could have let the touchdown go, but they gave it to him. But I'm gonna give it to another player on the Falcons, Kirk Cousins, 4 touchdowns, 23 to 29, 276 yards. Definitely did his thing out there. So Kirk Cousins is my offensive player of the week.
All right, defensive player of the week. It's kind of crazy, might not make sense, but it could have been offensive player, honestly. Tyreek
Uh-oh.
Stevenson, the Bears corner,
Oh my god.
because I know you probably had him as bonehead, so I already put him as defensive player of the week because he helped y'all when it all was all said and done, and he's a corner. So I never heard of the guy until this game. Uh, you mentioned it. He's the one that tipped the pass to Noah Brown. Apparently, his role was to box out Noah Brown. The coach said after the game that didn't happen. And then, of course, you mentioned all the angles we saw. I saw this random guy on the left side of the field, the screen, the main video that I've been seeing. And I'm like, who is this guy? Come found out it's him. You mentioned he was drawing with y'all's Commanders fans, turned his back to the play, and was late getting over there to the crowd. And not to say that it would have been much difference, because sometimes those do happen on Hail Marys, those tips. That's the dangerous thing about them when you're playing defense. But as Ed would say, from back to Lackey High School to now, you damn clown, damn moron. He should be the Bama of the year for that damn play. I mean, come on now. Yeah, that's my defensive player of the week. I know it may not make sense, but it do. What about you?
I'm gonna give it to TJ Watt. I think he had 5 total tackles, 2 sacks, and he forced that fumble and recovered it at the end of the game against the Giants last night. So TJ Watt, I saw a sign in the stadium called him Kilowatt. I thought that was pretty cool too. But yeah,
Mm.
TJ Watt is my defensive player of the week.
Special teams player of the week. I'm going for the second straight week. Brandon McManus, excuse me, 3 for 3 for extra points, 3 field goals, including the game winner for 24 yards out against his former team. Second straight week that he's won the game for his team, for the Green Bay Packers. Um, Brandon McManus, again, not because we had the same first name. What about you?
I'm gonna give it to Khalif Raymond of the Lions. He had a punt return for 90 yards and a touchdown. One of the touchdowns that the Lions put up on the Tennessee Titans when they blew the doors off of them, 52-14. So yeah, Khalif Raymond is my special teamer of the week.
Bonehead player call of the week. I got to go to my Ravens game in Cleveland. I mentioned it in the preview. We had the ball down at this Cleveland 7 yard line. It was 4-1, scoreless game. Our opening drive, Todd Munkin, he draws up a wild card snap to Derrick Henry. JOK, I hope he's okay. He got injured later in the game. Him and Hurst, they blew it up in the backfield, lost 2 yards, turnover on downs. Browns football. Could have easily been different if Lamar took the snap from under center or even in the shotgun. Either way, defense knew exactly what was going to happen. I talked about it earlier. When he's, if it's not 2 to 3 yards within the end zone, it could be a pass. I mean, if it is,
Mm-hmm.
if it's inside first, second, third, fourth and goal, or within the 10 yard line, we know that if Derrick Henry lines up behind center, it's going to be a run. It always happens like that. So yeah, I mean, Todd Monken, man, he does this every once in a while. Just calls these idiot plays, man. It's like, come on. Like, the entire defense knew exactly what they were doing. Beat the offensive lineman off the snap. It was a mess. What about you, bonehead player call? I think I know where you're going though.
Yeah, I think you described it perfectly. The Bears, Tyreek Stevenson. I'm gonna give it to Eberflus too. Just play calling. Well, like I said, what can go wrong did go wrong. Let us get that easy out to Terry McLaurin.
Yep.
Rex Ryan, Dan Orlovsky. A lot of media pundits were talking about it. They had 3 timeouts. They didn't use them. They could have called a timeout once they saw what we were in. And like, okay, guys, this is what we see. Make sure you do this, this, and that. Get the clown, as you called him, moron, as I wanted to call him. I think he's a hero. I'm gonna call him a hero. Thank you, Tyreek Stevenson, for just your boneheaded decision to think the game was over and not let it play out to the end. He was, even the play before it, he was you know, talking stuff to the fans. He was just, he thought the game was in the bag and he won it. Caleb Williams was on the sideline, pissed as hell. It was kind of funny seeing him and Jaden Daniels have their exchange at the end of the game. Basically, they just dapped each other up, gave a little hug, and kept it moving. I know Caleb Williams was pissed. I remember CJ Stroud, after that game, CJ Stroud tried to give him, some words of encouragement. And Caleb really wasn't trying to hear. He was like, yeah, cool, man. And the CJ's like, nah, man, listen to me. So it kind of felt like that. He definitely take losses hard. I know he's gonna be pissed. So yeah, man, bonehead play. Definitely Tyreek Stevenson, bonehead call, Matt Eberflus. I guess no call for not calling timeouts and just letting us score like that. So yeah, that's what I got. And let's get into these other scores from week 8, shall we? Rams and the Vikings, their second straight loss Thursday night. Final score was 30-20. Texans topped the Colts 23-20. Kirk Cousins threw 4 touchdowns as the Falcons beat the Bucks 31-26 in Tampa Bay. Pats beat the Jets, 25-22. Lions destroyed the Titans. I mean, absolutely mollywopped them 52-14. Eagles crushed the Bengals 37-17. Chargers beat the Saints 26-8. Bills dominated the Seahawks 31-10. Broncos over the Panthers 28-14. Chiefs topped the Raiders 27-10. My guaranteed pick of the week. Thank God I had to do no push-ups. And Cowboys lose another one. I don't know why the hell I picked the Cowboys. Dak Prescott looked awful. 30-24 against the 49ers. Brandon, which of these games caught your attention the most?
Coming up through the year, Anthony Richardson had to take a play off
That
after the
was almost
run
one of my boneheaded plays, yeah.
in the third quarter. Okay, never have I ever heard of that from a quarterback, y'all.
Should
I
have
like the
lied.
guy. I really love him. Now we hear today that he's going to be benched for Joe Flacco on a healthy scratch. But he's kind of been a diva since he said college football was easier than the NFL on a podcast. I think it was last off season. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, the Colts, man, they they got some decisions to make soon, as if comes to their franchise quarterback there. Patriots over the Jets. I'm seriously blown in this one. I picked New England in Week 18 last year to beat the Jets, and they lost in a close one at home there in Foxborough, and then this time they edge out the Jets for the win. Uh, we mentioned it after the trade for Devontae Adams. If the man cannot play offensive line, um, or help this run game, it really doesn't matter, honestly. And we've seen it in this one as well. Um, Chargers over the Saints. I don't know if you remember way back when we was in high school, Drew Brees joined the Saints, but before that, the Saints fans used to come to the Superdome with brown bags over their heads. They're gonna be doing it again real soon there in New Orleans, man. It's just it's getting worse and worse, man. It's absolutely embarrassing football down there for them. And then Bills over the Seahawks, man. Long afternoon for the Seahawks on both sides of the ball. You know it's bad when both your defenders start fighting each other in the second quarter. Um, Kind of remind me of two of your defensive linemen got into it a couple years ago against the Cowboys, but
Mhm.
they were actually these guys were on the field, and actually the still shot of them, you saw a Bills offensive lineman and I think another Bills offensive lineman, and the Bills lineman that was in front of them in the camera shot was looking like these damn fools fighting each other right now on the damn field. So, and then next thing you know, Josh Allen and James Cook they got to work, and then Cowboys, man, yeah, Dak can't run the ball, can't stop the run. Like Marcus Spears or Ryan Clark said on Monday Night Countdown, one of the two said, that's two of the things that can help you win games and can definitely help, you know, end up you losing games when you can't stop the run and you can't run the ball. It's no in between. When it's that bad, you end up losing. Like legit, they have no explosive running back down there. Again, they've not been able to stop the run probably for the past 2.5 seasons. That's this year plus the past two. It's bad down there for the Dallas Cowboys, but I love it. I absolutely love it. What about you? Which of these games caught your attention?
Definitely the Cowboys 49ers game. I mean, it was again, he kind of Dak had like some Jameis Winston in it where he throws balls. Fred Warner could have ended the game for interception, but he dropped it. I think he had 2 interceptions in his games. It's like, damn, Dak, you looking I don't know, man. Definitely the Bills over the Seahawks. Geno Smith, I thought he was about to cry at one point. He was so frustrated going back to the sideline after he threw an interception. I think the ball got tipped. This is an ugly game for him. Eagles over the Bengals. I'm kind of surprised at the outcome of this game. Now, Bengals were without T. Higgins. I think I did mention that if the T. Higgins didn't play because he had that quad injury late Friday, I think he got hurt, then I like the Eagles to win that game. But I thought it'd be a little bit closer. Want to see how the Bengals look the rest of the season. They needed that one bad. Texans over the Colts. Stephon Diggs blew his knee out. When I saw the play happen, non-contact injury, I was like, oh man, I hope it's not what I think it is. But they confirmed it today, the ACL. They're without Nico Collins now. It's basically Joe Mixon or bust. It seems like if he's not running the ball well, I don't know. CJ Stroud played better this game, but that offense definitely. I don't want to say teams has figured the offense out or figured CJ Stroud out because they're still winning games, but it's going to be interesting to see how they look without two of their top wide receivers now. Tank Dell is definitely going to get a lot more attention from Stroud and from the defense. So we'll see how that looks. Lions over the Titans, man. I mean, at first the score was Mason Rudolph looked like maybe he deserves a shot on, but he started doing Mason Rudolph things. Then the Lions just put it on him. Jared Goff, strange as stat line. He threw for 3 touchdowns, but only had 85 yards passing. David Montgomery might have had a better QBR than him because he threw a touchdown. I mean, everybody was getting touchdowns. Sam Laporta was getting touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. Like I said, that 1-2 punch is unbeatable. And then the Pats over the Jets. The Jets got a kicking issue. Greg Zuerlein, he missed a PAT, and he missed I want to think it was a 50-yarder. Might have been inside 50 yards, 45, 47 yards, something like that. Definitely could have helped them out. And like I said earlier, they fired Robert Saleh, and it looks like that defense took an immediate step back. I mean, Sauce Gardner, he let the receiver, I think Keyshawn Boot, beat them to get them in scoring position towards the end of the game. I'm just like, that defense does not look good. I'm not even going to talk about the offense side of the ball. And then again, the Rams, I caught it. I had a feeling the Rams was going to beat the Vikings last Thursday, and that's exactly what happened. They got Cooper and Puka back. Like I said, that NFC West, I think, is going to heat up. At this point, I do think the Seahawks might take a slide, but I think the Rams are going to do their thing. Niners going to stay around. In Arizona, you never know with them. So definitely that division. But the Vikings, I'm calling now. I think they're going to finish bottom of the division. I could be wrong, but I think they're going to go back to normal, how everybody expecting them to play. Even though Sam Darnold didn't play bad, I just think, overall, people are going to start figuring out that defense a little bit, and they play bad. But yeah, that's definitely what caught my attention the most.
Yeah, I almost forgot that was Philadelphia's first win in Cincinnati since the Bush administration. That was the year 2000. Congratulations to the Eagles for that. I mentioned in the Friday show they always remember whenever these two teams play, the Donovan McNabb stating that he didn't know a game could end in overtime. That will always forever live in my memory when I think about these two teams facing each other. All right, everyone. Less than a week until Election Day. Make sure you take time to vote early or vote on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. In other news, we won't have a show on Friday, but we will be back next Tuesday to recap a week 9. And if it's anything like week 8, we're in for a fun show. Thanks to all of our viewers, followers, and support. Until next time, love one another.
Peace. Y'all take it easy, everyone out there. Stay safe.